What's up, guys? My name is Gabe, and welcome back to the Trojan Blade. Welcome back to a brand new video, and welcome to the first game preview of the 2025 season. We have finally made it, and kickoff at the Coliseum is right around the corner. Not going to waste any more time. Absolutely fired up to get into this one. So, of course, if you guys are enjoying the videos, please do leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Check out the USC football podcast I'm doing with Tim Prangley. Link is down below in the description. And also make sure you're becoming a channel member and subscribing to the Trojan Blade Patreon. Really appreciate you guys. Now let's get into it. All right, so we have been doing these game previews the exact same way since the start of this channel back in 2022. The way I like to do these, I want to try and paint the picture of who our opponent is as clearly as I can. That way, when we go into the game, you guys will know what to expect. You'll know what you're looking at. You'll know what to expect from a scheme standpoint. And normally we start this off by meeting the head coach. But since this is a team brand new to the FBS level, we're actually going to meet the program first. So Missouri State is not historically a dominant FCS program. They're not like a Montana or a Montana State or a North Dakota State or a team like that. They were actually pretty bad for a while. It was not until Bobby Petrino got there that they really started to turn things around, and that was just in the last couple of years. Looking back at what they did last year, they went 8-4 overall. They had two close losses to Ball State and Montana, but they got absolutely destroyed by North Dakota State and South Dakota State. They did accept that invite to join the CUSA for this year, and they have a 4.5 win total according to DraftKings. Also, totally forgot to mention, if there's any Missouri State fans out there watching, welcome to the channel. Super cool that we're going to be your first game at this higher level. And yeah, very much looking forward to seeing us on the field play against your Bears. But now moving on, let's meet the head coach of Missouri State. It is Coach Ryan Beard. He is 37 years old, and he was actually the defensive coordinator under Bobby Petrino. This is a defensive guy. He comes across very well when you listen to him speak in his pressers. Very humble, very process-oriented, showed a ton of respect for both USC, Lincoln Riley, and the overall aura of the LA Coliseum, speaking about its history. So very cool guy, very likable. Now, scheme-wise, this is going to be a base 4-3. But assuming we play primarily in 11 personnel, which is what we did last year, you are going to see a ton of 4-2-5 from Missouri State. And we'll get into it more in the meet the defense part of this, but they had a lot of turnover in that secondary. So breaking in all that new against these receivers is going to be a tough day for them. But yeah, having said all that, let's head over and meet the Missouri State offense. So this group is led by senior quarterback Jacob Clark. He's 6'5", 220. He was a Minnesota transfer 3 years ago. And he has been the starter ever since. 3 straight years of starting now at Missouri State. And some people actually have him as a projected late round pick in the NFL draft. This is a very talented kid. He's broken all sorts of records over there at Missouri State. When Coach Beard was talking about him, he called him very calm, says he has a grown man's demeanor. But when you watch Jacob, the first thing that stands out is his pocket presence. He stands very tall, very confident, very sure of himself. With that height, has a very good vantage point of the defense. He can see over the offensive linemen. Not that that's the biggest deal in today's day and age of college football. Hell, it's not even the biggest deal at the NFL level, but it most definitely is an asset. I'd say he has slightly above a good arm. Like, I feel like calling it good is doing him a little bit of a disservice, but calling it anything better than that is over-exaggerating. So he's kind of a tweener in that sense. He can make every throw that they're going to ask him. Not the highest velocity in the world. Sometimes, to me, it actually looks like he takes a little bit off the ball. Not sure why. Maybe he does it just to give his receivers more of a catchable ball. Not sure, just a guess. Another thing about him is that he can run for a first down. He's very decisive. Like I said, he's very sure of himself. On film, at least what I watched, I didn't really see him go 1, 2, 3 very often. It's usually 1, 2, and either check down or he pulls it and runs. A lot of times in this offense, the number 2 is the check down. But yeah, his feet, while he's not going to outrun anybody, he is not afraid at all to scramble to pick up that first down. Now, looking at the overall offensive scheme, this is actually going to be pretty good prep for what we're going to see in the Big Ten. They're under center a lot. This is a very heavy play action team. The quarterback's going to turn his back to the defense. And this is a very veteran guy. So he's able to do that and have a lot of success. They are going to boot and boot and boot over and over again. And they are going to hammer those tight ends in the middle of the field. They did that a ton last year and had a lot of success doing it. So yeah, our linebackers are going to be very active in pass coverage in the middle part of the field. They're going to try to muddy it up. They're going to try to make it really congested in there. Smart and assignment sound football is going to be a big deal for this one for our linebackers. Another thing I saw a ton of was the inside seam route. Man, they love to throw this, and Jacob Clark is very good at it. He's on the money more often than not with this route. And with Jade Maiava, he really likes the outside seam ball. But man, with Miller Moss, we threw that inside seam a ton. So expect to see a heavy dosage of that with Jacob Clark. Now some more personnel. The starting running back is going to be FIU transfer Shamari Lawrence. Very good vision. Not going to wow you with the athleticism, but a very smart kid, knows what he's doing. For the wide receivers, there's 3 names to know really. James Blackstrain and Jamari Robinson are the first 2. And then Dash Luke is someone that Coach Beard said is going to have a huge role in this team. So Blackstrain, Robinson, and Luke for the wideouts. Pay attention to those guys. Now the offensive line is definitely the weak point of this Missouri State offense. They returned 3 starters, but it was a line that was very bad last year. If our defensive front is not having massive success early on in this game, I'd be very surprised. And if we finish the game with not a lot of quarterback pressures or no sacks, I'm not going to panic because it's the first game and weird shit happens sometimes, but it'll definitely be a red flag. Now moving over to the defensive side of the ball, again, we talked about the scheme. It's a base 4-3, but with how we play, they're essentially going to be in 4-2-5 the entire game. Now this defensive front, it's bad. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. There's no way I could pump this up. They desperately tried to improve the interior of this defensive line in the transfer portal. Didn't really work out for them. Those are premium spots these days. As we know, we've had our own struggles in the past. But yeah, the offensive line should have a field day. The running back should go off. If Lincoln Riley throws the ball 40 or 50 times, I swear to God, I'm going to lose my mind. Run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. Please, Lincoln Riley. Now, while the interior defensive line is bad, the edge play is actually pretty good. These are guys that got a lot of pressures and a lot of sacks. Again, at the FCS level, all the praise here and all the positivity. There is that caveat that they did it with an FCS schedule. So keep that in mind. But with this being the first game, that is all I have to go off of. So yeah, the edge players were very productive last year. Both starting linebackers and starting corners transferred from last year's team. And actually, in a very, very sad story, Todrick McGee was going to be a returning starter for them at safety. He actually passed away this offseason. A tragic, horrible story. Obviously, deepest condolences to all of his family and the entire Missouri State program. He really seemed like he was beloved amongst his teammates and coaches. Extremely sad. But yeah, missing him in a purely football standpoint is huge. They do feel very good about their safety room. I was actually reading some Missouri State preview articles, and the Missouri State people think that the safety room is the best room on the entire team. So there's that. And again, with this being the first game of the year, I don't have anything to go off of. There's not a ton of Missouri State coverage out there. So in the future, these previews will be much more in depth when I have actual game tape to watch from this year. But yeah, that's the gist of Missouri State. Now let's get into G's Keys, and then we'll go over the betting line. All right, so G's Keys returns for its 4th season on the channel. That's crazy, 4 years. But yeah, on the offensive side, we have offensive line rotation. Figure it out. Who's it going to be at center? I know they're saying that it's going to be Killian O'Connor or John Ray Reed. In regards to Killian O'Connor being the long-term solution at center, I'll believe it when I see it. And guys, obviously the keys to the game here, it's such a mismatch. This is more or less just what I want to see. Because what are the keys to the game, keys to winning? Show up, take them seriously, and play hard. That's pretty much it. But another key or another thing I want to see on the offensive side is who's going to be wide receiver 3. We have Lemon, we have Lane. We all know that, but who the hell is going to be wide receiver 3? On Trojans Live, Lincoln Riley didn't even have any idea, and I believed him. I mean, he listed everybody aside from Corey Sims and Mo Ison as a potential threat there. So yeah, let's throw those guys in there and see who the real gamer is. Now, flipping to the defense, secondary experience. Let's get those young guys in there. I want to see Alex Graham. I want to see Marcellus Williams. I really want to see Braylon Conley. Get those young guys in there because there's a lot of change in this secondary and they need reps in the worst possible way. And sticking with the secondary, let's see the nickel battle play out. Now, I think it's going to be Alex Graham, but I would be kidding myself if I thought they were just going to throw him in there and not put him on a leash. If he plays and he's for some reason not ready, which I don't expect to happen, but if it does, then we need to see who they're also rotating in that spot. So yeah, those are G's Keys for this week. Now let's look at the betting line and I'll give you my score prediction. All right, so over on DraftKings, USC is currently a 35.5 point favorite. Now back in the Clay Helton era, we would obviously never pick USC to cover, not in games like this. But since Lincoln Riley's been to USC, we have absolutely blown teams like this out. You think of Rice in 2022, Nevada in 2023, Utah State from last year. We hammer these lower level teams, and I think that that's going to happen here. I have USC covering, and I have us winning by a final score of 52-10. Guys, as always, please let me know your scores down below. And yeah, can't believe we're finally here. This is going to be an extremely busy year for me content-wise, so make sure you're following me here. Hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell. Subscribe to the USC Football Podcast I do with Tim Prangley. That link is down below. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter. That's at the Trojan Blade on both. Again, those links are down below. And yeah, this season is going to be a hell of a ride one way or another. So let's buckle in and see what USC has in store for us this year. Really appreciate you guys being here. You're all awesome. And as always, take care and fight on. Beat the Bears.